Welcome to another episode of Before You Kill Yourself with your host, Leo Flowers. I am Leo Flowers. This is a quick episode. This is I was sitting around talking to a buddy, and he goes, the winner of the 2021 script spelling bee is an African American girl named Zaila Avante-Garde. 14 years old. Not only is she a spelling prodigy, she's a she holds the Guinness Book World Records for dribbling the ball, 8 balls at one time for 30 seconds. Guinness Book World Records. Plans to go to Harvard. And this is not about her race. This is not about her basketball acumen. This is about what she said in a post spelling bee interview, which I'm glad that she gave. And they were asked because her word was Maria. Now, Maria, if you ask me how to spell it, I'd be like Maria. And then they'd be like, because it's capital M, right? That's how they get you in the spelling bees, is that you got to say capital M, right? But that wasn't even the word. Because when I heard the word, I was like, that's the word she won on? And it's actually Maria, which is what is the thing? I had to look it up. It's some type of plant that Guinness. Oh goodness, I looked it up. I posted it, and then I ain't even. Hold on, I'm gonna find it right now. But all right, it's a Guinness of flowering citrus tree. That's what Maria is, and it's spelled Murraya. Okay. Now, I bring it up to say that when she won, she was being interviewed and they said, how did you know how to spell that word? And she said, it's not enough to just know how to spell words. It's not enough to sit down and just memorize them. You have to understand the root of each word. You have to know if it's Latin or Spanish and what it means and where it came from and the story behind it. And I bring that up to say that a lot of times we just want the steps, right? If there's something that's bothering us, our elbow, if we're upset, if something's wrong, we just give me the 1, 2, 3s. Just tell me how to fix this thing, and that serves us in some aspects, right? The other day our AC broke, and we called the AC guy. And we were just like, hey, can you fix this? And he explained why we were having an issue, and it was that understanding of what the issue was that now we can take further steps to prevent future happenings. So we understood the root cause, just like she knew the root word for Maria, which allowed her to spell the word. Because even in the interview, she was like, I wasn't nervous at all. She wasn't nervous because she understood the root. She understood the essence. That she understood the backstory, right? And this is what we have to do with our emotions, with the things that are bothering us internally. We have to get to the root of our own distress. It's not enough to just know the 3 ways to deal with your anger, or the 5 ways to become resilient, or the 10 ways to find love. We have to understand the root of our despair, of our pain, of our feelings of disconnection. Or else we're just going to end up back there. We might find some solve, some quick fix, something to help us get through. But then one day you're going to get a word like Maria, and you're going to think that it's Maria, and it's going to be Murraya. And it's subtle. And that difference is what makes the difference. And, when you talk about the root cause of inequality, right? We're talking about gender and ethnic discrimination and poor governance and conflict and exploitation and domestic violence. Like, all those are the root cause of global poverty, right? When you look at the root cause of divorces, is basically lack of trust and poor communication, poor friendship, right? When we get to the root cause, So that's why it's so important that if you have family members who still exist that you can still talk to ask them questions, to really dig deep into your history, into your family's history, see what the trends are, what the patterns are, what are the relationship trends, what are the mental health trends, and then to understand, even go deeper, right, into the history of your people, of your culture. If you're Black, Jewish, Asian, Irish, Scottish, South American, Canadian, like what's the history? If you're Indian, what's the history of your people throughout time? When the further, the deeper we go, the more connected we can feel. And I understand that some of you may be adopted or foster kids, and some of that information might be tough. But whatever environment you grew up in, if you grew up in Chicago, if you grew up in Budapest, if you grew up in, St. Paul, Minnesota, there's a history of that town, of that city, of that country. All those things affect how we show up and how we interpret the world. So digging a little deeper into the root of, to see what, what were the messages that your parents fed you, that the media fed you, that schools fed you, that other students in school fed you, that the news, that your parents, friends, like what were the messages that you received that may be influencing how you perceive the world today? And what were the messages they received? And what were their experiences? And then your grandparents, and so on and so forth. And you could even, do a medical deep dive of genetics and DNA and gut biome, and just kind of getting to the root source of yourself. And if none of that's available to you, if that seems too daunting, oftentimes I find just sitting with myself, clarity starts to emerge, answers to questions, a sense of peace and tranquility starts to come up. I start to see the root cause of whatever suffering I may be undergoing at the moment. It could be I just need a nap or a hug, or I just need to cut everything off, put the phone down, close the laptop, get off the TV. Sometimes the root cause it doesn't have to be this deep thing about what happened to your grandparents. It could just be as simple as, oh, I'm just a little bloated, so I feel a little off right now. I ate too much at lunch. That's why I'm tired, a little groggy. I had too much sugar or not enough sugar. Take time to get to the root cause of what you're experiencing. Or else what we end up doing is we avoid, we numb, right? Food, drugs, alcohol, sex. Sometimes we numb it through exercise, through movement. People who sometimes we overtrain. We overtrain to the point of pain. And then, that kind of pain, oh, I pulled a hamstring, or I tore my meniscus. So now we can focus on that instead of what's really going on deep down. Because we all know those people who are just constantly injured, hurt. So then that becomes the focus versus what they're really experiencing inside. So take some time to get to the root cause. And you can do that through reading other people's memoirs. I find that very therapeutic when I read about other people's experiences, whether it's through their obituaries, through their biographies, or through their memoirs. Put the self-help books to the side. You don't need the steps. You need the understanding. You need the clarity. You need to get to the root. Go into therapy. Journaling. Let me say this about therapy. For people, if you're going to therapy and you're wanting the 5 ways or the 3 ways from your therapist, and your therapist is giving it, like that's not what you want from your therapist. You want a therapist who knows how to keep you talking so that you can arrive at your own answers. So that's what a great therapist does. A great therapist knows how to ask you the right questions to help you peel back the layers to find your own truth. And sometimes that can take sessions. I just had like an incredible session with my therapist today, and I have to say, like, the last two where I was just like, well, I don't know if this is, and then today I was like, oh, I understand. I understand now. I understand. I understand that my therapist is a Yoda. She was just sitting back, patient. She was just waiting for me, you know. And then the breakthrough happened today, and I was like, oh, I see you. I see you, Sensei. I get it. So we have to learn how to ask ourselves questions about what worked for us, what didn't work for us through the day, and asking, getting feedback from others. We have to open ourselves up, and making sure you're talking to the right person to get to the root cause of what because we all have friends who, yeah, they speak their mind, but it's not it's without much thought or care or understanding or insight. Sometimes it comes with an agenda. So the better we get at sitting with ourselves and talking to ourselves and journaling and reflecting. You don't have to do that every day. You could do that once a week, on a Sunday, on a bus ride. But it's about getting to the root cause, and you may get there and then discover there's some other things going on. So we can spend our lives spelling Maria, Maria, or we can shoot for that Murraya. Go to thrivewithleo.com for one-on-one coaching with yours truly. Let's get to tomorrow together.